life back to normal. From burst pipes to unexpected mold discoveries or fire damage, when things couldn't be worse, we come to you with our best. With empathy, local expertise, and a truck full of seriously powerful equipment. 1-800-WATER DAMAGE of North Dakota. Restoring what matters most. 701-670-2022.
Welcome to Valley News Now. Our weather update is brought to you by 1-800-WATER DAMAGE. So for today, we're looking at conditions that are going to be on, well, the very active side. We've got first alert weather days back to back yesterday and again today. So we are looking at a storm that has been bringing us some freezing rain, some snow, some ice out there, conditions that are going to be hazardous for travel. And so we're going to be checking in on road conditions. We're going to check in on what to expect as we're making our way through the day today and just trying to get through this storm here in this update. If you have any questions, feel free to comment. This is streaming on Valley News Now, but it's also streaming live on our Facebook page as well. So I'll check in on any questions that you may have and try to answer them as we get toward the end of this update. But again, a reminder, it is a first alert weather day. So we're looking at the potential for a lot of impacts here for us for today, including the possibility for snow, freezing rain, and wind that will continue to be a factor for us as we work our way through this this Tuesday. Had to think about that for a second. What day is it? It seems like they're all kind of blending together back to back as we're dealing with multiple winter storms, multiple winter events, and the cold as well. That's something we'll be talking about too. Okay, so let's talk about this here. We've got a first alert weather day. I'm tracking some areas of snow, some areas of freezing rain. And so as we were looking outside, you can see that we've got snow coming down in the FM area. This is on the north side of the metro. And what we're looking for today is widespread snow mixing with ice south and west. Also seeing winds increasing in that 45 to 60 mile per hour range as we head into this afternoon and into tonight. For some areas, not everywhere will see that amount, that kind of wind, but some of us will. And then hazardous travel, of course. That's been something that's been a big factor for us for today. So I want to bring up our website and show you what we are tracking on our DOT maps and our cameras there as well. So I've opened up our homepage, our weather homepage. And as we take a look here, you can see there's lots of options at the top of the list here, including school closings. I should mention we've had quite a few of them coming in. Delays, closings, virtual learning. So you can always head here as we head through the winter months to check in on whether your school is closed or what the deal is for your school during, of course, these winter events that we're experiencing. So in addition to that, of course, we've been talking about the potential for road conditions being impacted. So I'm going to pull up our road conditions maps here. Checking in on North Dakota, this has been the big news here today. We've got lots of places, anywhere in red in the state, that's where no travel is advised. So looking at no travel advisory, basically from I-94 west of, we'll zoom in here, west of that Highway 38 exit, the Buffalo exit in Cass County, all the way through Stutsman County, and then beyond our viewing area past Mandan. Along I-94, no travel is advised there. Highway 83 in the central part of the state, no travel advised. And then for us in the valley, Highway 2 from just east of Devil's Lake over toward Lakota. Highway 2 is no travel advised all the way through Minot. This is an area where we've had a lot of freezing rain reports coming in, where we have had some snow as well and some slick conditions. In addition to no travel advisories in the red, and that's not just for the highways that you see there, but the entire county that is highlighted as well. But then you can see we also have some areas in purple, that's a travel alert. And we also have areas in, here's that purple area that I'm talking about, travel alert. Where we see yellow, that means ice or compacted snow on the roads. Purple, the darker purple, snow covered or scattered snow drifts. I'm going to take a look at our layers here, turn on cameras, and briefly I'll show you the radar so you can see what's going on. So you can see there's a lot of snow and some freezing rain out there as well. So we'll take that off there for a second. We'll get back to the radar in a moment, but I do want to just kind of check in on some of our cameras. In the Devil's Lake area, we've been seeing snow. That looks quite snowy on the road surface there. And it could be on top of a layer of ice, potentially, in some of these areas. This is Highway 2 in Devil's Lake. And then back down toward New Rockford, our camera there looks to be showing some compacted snow on the road, might be a little bit of ice. I see some tire tracks, which is a good sign that it's snow and not necessarily all ice, but the potential is there that we've got some icy conditions. No travel advised there, so it's good to see no cars on the road. Checking in on Valley City, we're looking at some snow-covered roads as well in the Valley City area. And we'll check in on Grand Forks here again soon, but you can see Grand Forks showing some areas of ice or compacted snow on the road surface as well. And similar in Fargo-Moorhead, some of our cameras that are a little farther south, you can see the road looks a little bit better toward Foreman. We'll go over toward Gackle. You can see a little bit of either it was once liquid or it is still liquid on the camera there on the screen. This is an area in the James River Valley area where temperatures are warming up the most today. So again, this is North Dakota DOT, and then we'll go back. Oh, do I have to click through all of this? Let's see here. We'll do another option here because I want to show you Minnesota as well. We'll click on that little button there and open up the website from there. Okay, so we can see that we've got some issues on the roads in Minnesota as well. They have a different color scheme. I'll show you the legend here. Oops, sorry guys, bear with me. I'll show you the legend. You can see that anywhere in blue is partially covered, pink is completely covered, and purple is travel is not advised. And we don't have any no travel advisories right now, but we do have some issues on the road surfaces, cameras. We'll check in on some of these. And again, we started off with some snow on the road from last night's round. So we've been dealing with that in the valley as well. So this is over by Lake Park now. You can see Highway 10 looking somewhat okay here this morning, at least this little segment of it. But again, I want to stress that the snow is moving east, so eventually it will move into Minnesota and affect you. We also have access to plow cameras on this particular website, so you can see plows working to clear the roadway here on Minnesota Highway 9. This particular stretch of the road does look rather snowy there, and I can see, looks like we've got some snow coming down in that area. So again, crews are working hard to get these, keep up with the snow and help to mitigate some of the ice and snow buildup that's happening in these spots. So that's a look at road conditions, and we'll be keeping an eye on that throughout the day. You can always head there, and you can access both Minnesota, North Dakota, and South Dakota as you go through our valleynewslive.com page, and then also right through our VNL weather app as well. You can access that. So excuse me, guys. So we're looking at behind me right now. This is our camera in Fargo, and the snow is really coming down. You can see the flakes in the foreground. And then normally, these are NDSU buildings here. Normally in the distance we can see downtown, and we can't see it at all in this shot. I'm going to take this up full screen so you can get a better look. That is definitely looking to be on the snowy side. So that's good to know. I've heard some reports that there was some drizzle. I heard the reports there was some sleet mixed in with the snow at times. And that's going to create, some slick spots on the roadways. So there might be a layer of that underneath the snow, but right now it looks like Fargo's on the snowier side of things to start off the morning here this morning. And then just checking in on some of our DOT cams. This is Rothsay. You can see that we've got snow. Looks like there might even be a slight bit of drifting across the road. And conditions are looking rather snowy in that view. And then Jamestown, also seeing some areas of snow as well. On the road surface. This is an area actually, that's snow on the side, but on the side of the road, but we've actually been getting freezing rain here, so you can see the wet road surface there. So some slick spots in Jamestown. And looking at, I thought I had pulled up our Grand Forks camera because that's an area that's definitely getting some snow here this morning. I'm going to pull that up for you here while you check out the radar there. You can see that we definitely have a lot of blue on the map right now and just a little sliver of pink. And a reminder that pink means freezing rain or freezing drizzle. And one other thing to note, this is the radar's interpretation of what's returning back to the radar site. So it may be melting snow at times that you're seeing there, or it's thinking that it's seeing freezing rain, but it's actually flakes. So sometimes it can be a little bit off, but you can tell that we are looking at areas where that changeover is happening right along the North Dakota-South Dakota line. Okay, I'm going to pull up our sky cams, and that's another page you can access to check out what's going on around the valley. And we've got several here. I want to check in on the Grand Forks camera. This is at UND, the Department of Atmospheric Sciences, looking very wintry there, winter wonderland right now. Probably not so much of a wonderland for anybody trying to drive. But you can see, a little hard to tell, but you can see the snow building up on the roads and the tire tracks in that shot. So again, this is an area that was included initially in the winter storm warning. It still is, but more counties have been added, so we'll talk about that in just a moment. But I'm running out of breath here. But this is an area where we're expecting a decent amount of snow in Grand Forks. So let's take a look at conditions that are going to, once again, be on the snowy side here as we continue on through the day. Okay, let's see. Sorry, guys. I am managing a lot of buttons here. Okay, so here's a look at your radar. We've got lots of blue on the map, and it's been trucking its way through eastern North Dakota. You can see the I-29 corridor now looks pretty snowy from border to border, essentially, and we've got more of that snow pushing into Minnesota, and we could see that on some of our cameras there. And then again, that pink that we've been tracking in places like Jamestown, down through the James River Valley, and then points south and east from there. And there is a little bit of clearing going on here. So this is moving along as we make our way into the afternoon. And so there will be a pocket, and if you watch the valley today, this morning we talked about this a little bit, how there may be a period of a few hours in southeastern North Dakota where we get a break before the wraparound snow sweeps through later tonight. Meanwhile, it's ongoing in places in the north and, of course, increasing for those in the east as we head into midday. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit more. We've got a nice snow shower coming down right now in front of you. You see that deeper blue there. That is heavier snowfall rates happening. That stretches up toward Hillsboro, Mayville, Portland area, back over to Findlay and Hope and Cooperstown and down toward Page. Those areas getting a good snowfall rate. And then, of course, Jamestown through Lemoore, Oaks, Ellendale, definitely, oh, I'm off the screen there, guys, definitely experiencing some areas of pink on the map, which means that we are looking at some freezing rain in that area, stretching along that North Dakota-South Dakota border. Okay, so that's the Southern Valley. Let's move to the north. As we look farther north, it's more all snow. Where we might see that transition is in that Devil's Lake Basin here for a time. There may be a moment or two where we're seeing some freezing rain again here as we go through the day. But overall, mostly snow, and it's a good snow coming down in parts of Grand Forks County, Reynolds area back over toward Northwood, and then into Nelson County as well. So places like Mackville, up toward Lakota, and Petersburg and Niagara getting some of that snow too. So this is all going to just continue drifting eastward and, making those roads more snowy as the day goes on. So let's talk about our latest alerts. We do have an update from this morning. Again, if you were watching the valley today, we actually talked about this. We had a warning, a winter storm warning for north central parts of the valley, and then there was one to the south and east toward Brainerd. I was talking about how there's a potential for some heavier snow in between in parts of Lakes Country, and now the National Weather Service has upgraded our winter weather advisory in this area to a winter storm warning. So this now includes places like Detroit Lakes, the eastern half of Otter Tail County, and then into places like Park Rapids and Wadena, up toward Bemidji, Mahnomen. Those areas are now included in this winter storm warning for the potential for some heavy snow. Surrounding areas in the viewing area and beyond are under winter weather advisory. And, it's varying conditions under the advisory. We're going to be watching out for, we could see some heavy snow in some areas. We could also see rain or freezing rain in these areas, and then a mix, it's slushy mix going on. So that would impede our snow totals and would create a different kind of situation as far as travel is concerned with icy and slushy roads rather than snowy roads. Or, a combination of the two where it's changing as our temperature changes. So it could get interesting in the winter weather advisory areas, or continue to be interesting, I should say, now that we're in the midst of it. So this continues into tonight. So we're going to continue to have issues on the roads tonight and even lasting into tomorrow morning. We'll still have the residual effects of this winter storm. And then the other alert that is out there is the high wind warning. We're looking at those wind gusts that could get as high as 60 miles per hour. Now, not everybody's going to see that, even in the warning area, but the possibility is there. Southeastern North Dakota, a few of our counties along the border in Minnesota, so that includes Clay, Wilkin, and Traverse County, and then South Dakota as well. And then this stretches west from there. That's where our wind is going to be likely the strongest with this event. So that's going to pick up as the day goes on. So this actually takes effect this afternoon, heading into, depending on where you are in the warning, and then heading into tonight, we'll see some of our strongest winds. So let's get into our wind speeds right now. We've got wind speeds that are not too much of a problem. We're seeing wind 5 to 15 to 20 miles per hour, a couple of gusts into the 20s. So it is starting to pick up, but not quite at that intense range just yet. And looking at our visibility, of course, it's down where we're getting snow, where we're getting the freezing rain. And it's low in places like Grand Forks. You can see we're down to a quarter-mile visibility, and it is looking pretty snowy in Grand Forks on our sky cam we just showed you at UND. Grafton, a quarter-mile, half-mile in Cavalier, Cooperstown, Devil's Lake, half-mile also in Fergus Falls. So again, it's pushing into Minnesota too. And so Fargo's at 2 miles. So again, dealing with snow, reduced visibility on the roads, and slick roads at that. So again, it's one of those situations where if you don't need to drive today, if you don't need to travel, probably a good idea just to stay home and not worry about it, stay safe here. And so looking at that visibility, going to continue to be impacted as we go through the day. And then the other thing, temperatures. We're watching those go up. And so by the time we get into the afternoon, so we've got this low moving through. It's going to kind of sweep through diagonally through the valley. And if you're to the northeast of it, that's where it'll be cooler. South and west of it, that's where that warm sector is in this system. And so you can see where those warmer temperatures are. We're looking at some low to upper 30s in those areas for this afternoon. This is a snapshot at 3. Fargo around that time in the upper 20s. Our forecast is to get to a high of about 32, so right around that freezing/melting point. And, Wahpeton also in that range as well, and then staying well below freezing to the north and east from there. So that means that snow sticks around. And then south of there, that's where it gets messy. And one other thing to note is, yes, we'll be above freezing for a while in some areas in the southwest, but eventually we're going to drop back below freezing. So there's the potential we could see kind of a flash freeze situation where suddenly all the moisture from the rain or the melting that we experience freezes back up as that colder air rushes in. So watching for that. Okay, let's get into the forecast now for your hour-by-hour planner. This is around 11 o'clock, looking pretty similar to what we're seeing on the radar right now, which in the weather world we call that initializing okay, initializing well. The model looks like the current conditions we're experiencing right now. That gives us confidence that this is going to be a good model to reference here. And you can see that, again, snow is affecting us basically eastern North Dakota and now pushing into Minnesota. Let's move ahead and move on to the lunch hour. This is 1 p.m. You can see that snow starting to push farther into Minnesota. And then we get this pocket, this break, trying to develop here for some places like Jamestown and Valley City, though there will be some spots that may be getting some rain at that point in time or some freezing rain. And Fargo-Moorhead kind of right on that line. So what's happening right now is we're seeing snow, but there's the potential we see that freezing line move into Fargo for a time. And if that happens, it might get a little bit more sleet or slush or maybe even some freezing rain on top of the snow we're picking up right now. So it could get interesting here. Either way, it's going to make for some tough, challenging driving. And then up in Grand Forks, still in the snow, still building up the snow, and same thing over to the east where that snow is moving into here this morning and into the afternoon. And then you can see that line kind of starts to level out. The low starts moving southeast tonight. And look at these wind arrows. We're in the oranges, reds, even some purples. And those colors indicate more intense wind gusts going on. And it's right in those areas where we're watching for that high wind warning on the back side of that low with that northwesterly push of cold air. Meanwhile, the wind is not as strong elsewhere. And we'll take a look at gusts coming up, but I just want to point that out. And notice at 6 o'clock, our temperatures are starting to slip below freezing here this evening in places that were above, places like Jamestown. And again, we're still getting snow along Highway 2 and points to the east as well. Moving on into the 8 o'clock hour, that snow's advancing southward now. That wind is still very strong in these areas in southeastern North Dakota and surrounding region. And temperatures are below freezing or getting to below freezing at this point. And we still have some ongoing snow. So when that snow starts moving south and we've got this strong wind, that's when we're looking out for some of our most intense wind gusts and snow combos that will lead to some very low visibility, perhaps some drifting going on in some areas. And on top of that, if we have any ice buildup anywhere on some of our power lines, if we get a strong wind in those areas where we get ice buildup, there's going to be some concerns. There is some concern about power outages with that too. So something we'll be watching for as well heading into tonight. And then moving on into the late night hours, that wind driving southward everywhere from north to south. We're still seeing some snow in parts of the valley around 11 o'clock. And then eventually the accumulating snow pretty much ends. We're still getting a little bit of some isolated snow showers heading into tomorrow morning with the colder air punching in. But it's not like it is right now. It's isolated, nuisance kind of snow on top of, insults added onto injury here, where we're looking at conditions that are still going to be breezy, and then we have a little bit of snow, so that's just going to lead to conditions that aren't so great for the morning commute tomorrow either. It'll be better than tonight, but we still won't be completely out of the woods. So let's talk about snowfall with this. This is the total snow and ice. I'm focusing first on snow. We'll bring up ice in just a moment. And this is a rough idea of what we're looking at here. It matches up pretty well with what we're experiencing northern parts of the valley and then over into lakes country, looking at potentially getting in that 6+ range for some of these locations. And then Fargo, if we stay on the snowy side of things for a long time, looks like we are at least for the moment, we have the potential to be in that 3-inch range or so, maybe a little bit more. But the problem is we're going to add some ice into the mix, some freezing rain and some slush going on, and we'll be right on the line in Fargo. So it could be that we get an inch of snow and then that melts because we get a bunch of rain going on. But again, so that's kind of in that sharp cutoff zone in the FN area, whereas Grand Forks solidly looking like we're going to get several inches of snow there and over to the east. And then on top of that, again, we're watching for that potential for ice. I've overlaid that here in pink. So what's going to happen for a lot of these places, we'll actually see maybe the ice first or the freezing rain or the drizzle first, and then maybe a little snow trying to mix in. And then, as I showed you just a minute ago in our hour-by-hour planner, it's after that that we see some accumulations, and we see an inch or two of snow in some places in southeastern North Dakota. So it's maybe a situation where we have a layer of ice and then snow on top of it in some of those spots by the time this is all done. So just breaking these up again, looking at, again, the potential for some snow, more likely up into northeastern parts, the northern part of the valley, and then to the south and east. And then looking at ice potential really being focused in that light pink range, that's 1/10 of an inch or less. And then there are some places where, we might get a little more than 1/10 of an inch of ice. I'm hoping, if we're getting ice, that we can warm up in a lot of these areas above freezing to melt it at least for a little while, but just keep in mind it is going to refreeze again coming up here for later today. Okay, so let's get into wind. Let's talk about our wind gusts. So as we work our way into afternoon, we'll start to see those gusts pick up a little bit more. We're talking about gusts into the 20 to 30 mile per hour range. And then moving on beyond that, this is 2:30, starting to see some increase in intensity here as we work our way into the afternoon. We're getting gusts in Bismarck, Minot, Ellendale, Sisseton above 40 miles per hour. And then that continues to pick up from there. And, one thing I want to stress is that the wind field, depending on the track of the low, the wind field could shift a little farther east. And so that's why places like Fargo are in the high wind warning. We could see gusts topping 40 miles per hour in Fargo. The better bet for it, more Jamestown, Ellendale, Sisseton. You can see we're close to 50 in Ellendale. We just reached 50 in that moment as I was zipping through our hour-by-hour planner there. So again, this is going to be intense in areas where we've got some snow coming down at the same time, and where we've had ice build up in spots. So that's something we're going to keep an eye out for. This is 4 o'clock tomorrow morning. We're still dealing with some gusts into the 20s to some 30s, so still some blowing, some drifting snow. 8 a.m. we're coming down, but it is still going to be on the breezy side to start off the day tomorrow, so we'll need to be ready for that. So wind gust forecast, I'm focusing specifically on Jamestown because this area is where we're more likely to see some of our strongest gusts. You can see I've started this off around 5 o'clock this afternoon, and that continues into tonight. Even overnight, we're still strong. But it's more afternoon into the evening and late night where we're experiencing some of our strongest gusts with this system. Okay, so we've worked our way through the forecast for this round. It is going to be, one of those days where it really depends on where you are. So if you're in the north, we're talking about, again, that potential for snow building up, and that's what you're getting. It's snow. You may have a little bit of wind in the north and east, but it's going to be not nearly as strong as the south and west. So it's more of a heavy snow event for you. And then in the southern valley, it's more of a mixed bag of weather going on with freezing rain, sleet, some melting, and then refreeze, and then on top of that, snow, and then snow in the mix in some areas as well this afternoon too. We're seeing it right now in Fargo, and then we have to watch out for that wind as well in the southern valley, but especially in the south and west. So kind of a varying range of experiences that we'll have here in the valley heading through this system. Once it clears away, you can see what we've got going on here. Much colder temperatures taking over as we head into Wednesday and Thursday. And we're also looking out for even colder air coming in from there. What's going to happen is we're going to see another push, another system moving in Thursday night into early Friday. And behind that, temperatures will be plummeting as we see the colder air move in. You can see what is typically our morning low. That's when our temperature is going to maybe be the warmest. So after midnight, early morning hours, still above zero, but as the day goes on, we're dropping. And we continue to stay below zero through Saturday and into Sunday morning. So a couple of days here of sub-zero weather. And then we barely climb above zero on Sunday. Heading into next week, some improvement. Into Tuesday, we'll see 20 again. But we're not looking at any, consistent above average temperatures coming our way anytime soon for this month. Aside from today. Today we're warming up. We've been talking about this all day. We get our warm up, but it comes with a winter storm. So you can't really get out and enjoy it too much here as the day continues to roll on. It's just going to be tough. So again, conditions continue to get tougher in some places, and we'll continue to monitor that for you. Now I do want to take a look at, we'll pull up our 11-day. I'm just going to take a look at what we're experiencing or what our questions are, if we have any, on this system right now. So I'm heading to our Facebook page to check in on any questions. Okay. Someone's wondering why Fargo's only in the advisory, snowing really heavily. Yes, I see that. We'll pull up our camera in Fargo right now. Yeah, we've got a good snow coming down in Fargo at the moment. I think the thinking here is the National Weather Service issues these alerts, and the thinking is that, Fargo's in an area where we're right on the edge. I've been talking about the range snow line, and we're right on the edge of that. So there was always the potential that Fargo would end up with a heavy amount of snow, but there was also the potential that Fargo would end up with a very light amount of snow and then more slush and ice and that kind of weather. And it's still possible that may happen. We may see this snow transition over to rain, and then we end up with just kind of a messy, slushy weather going on. And so, there are multiple reasons to raise a winter storm warning. The classic one is for 6+ inches of snow, and while Fargo is possibly will get there, there is also a possibility, because Fargo is on that very steep cutoff, that rain snow line cutoff, that we could see less than that. And right now, we've got Fargo in that 3 to 6 inch range, and it's possible we'll get closer to that 6 inch range if it tracks the way it is tracking at the moment. We'll pull up our camera again. You can see that heavy snow coming down in North Fargo. That's our Newman Outdoor Field Sky Cam. So we've got the camera positioned on the lights out there, and so it's looking over NDSU's campus as it looks south. And that is going to continue to show low visibility for a little while. I'm going back in my graphics to take a look at our radar and just kind of reanalyze what we're seeing right now. But yes, we're in the thick of the snow, And my system's moving slowly, so thanks for bearing with me. So yeah, that's the reason. I mean, we're right on the edge of the winter storm warning, but not necessarily included in it at the moment. I'm going to pull up the radar again. And yeah, I mean, here we go. You can see the snow that is affecting us pretty heavily in Fargo. Right now you can see some heavier snow in the northern part of the Cass County area, and Fargo-Moorhead's been seeing that too. But the rain-snow line not too far away, and eventually this all moves eastward. So this won't last all day necessarily, unless the way the low tracks and the way the pivot happens as the low moves through, we could potentially stay on the snowier side the entire time. But right now it looks like the heavier chance for snow, again, is just north of Fargo. So there had to be a cutoff somewhere. And if it looks like we're getting heavier and heavier amounts of snow, there might be some changes to the headlines, but that's up to the National Weather Service. So again, radar is going to be, we're going to be watching that closely here this morning. And let's see here, more questions. Well, okay, so someone asked how much longer till the no travel advisory is in effect for Fargo. That's not something we can answer because we don't make that call. That is up to the NDDOT to do so. You know, if you've got a report to pass along, and I appreciate Drew mentioning that, you know, it's snowing really heavily. I appreciate all of the reports that you pass along. We're in the studio, so we can't go venture out and check out what's going on. So our windows on the world are you and our Skycam, so we appreciate hearing from you. But I'm just taking a look at our DOT map. We'll pull that back up for you here. You can see that, yeah, that no travel advisory, not quite extended here into the FM area or Cass County. We're under a travel alert. The no travel advisory is a little farther west, so you know it's possible we'll see that moved eastward, but again, that's up to the North Dakota DOT and not something that we have control over calling for that. And someone asked if there's no travel to Moorhead. I don't have any information on any no travel advisories for Minnesota right now. I don't see any roads listed as no travel, so I'm not seeing that, but roads are listed in the blue and pink colors here. Those are under partially covered or completely covered reports at the moment. Okay. Someone has asked me to turn up my mic. Hopefully you can hear me okay. I don't know if we can turn it up a little bit more. Hopefully that's a little bit better. Sorry about that, guys, if that's low. I wonder if my battery's running low. And let's see here. That's all I'm seeing for questions from Valley News Live. I'll look and see if we've got any more coming our way. And we'll have another update here, just so you know, we'll have another update coming up this afternoon from our evening crew as well. So if you have any more questions, you can ask them there as we are, you know, heading into the afternoon hours. But yeah, certainly tracking some areas of heavier snow. And I'm not seeing anything else coming in at the moment. Okay, so a reminder, we are under a first alert weather day, and we are looking at some areas of heavy snow coming right through the valley as we speak, right through the heart of the valley too. And then as the system shifts eastward, we'll see that wraparound snow, that wraparound moisture with this system, we'll zoom out a little bit more. This will, I'm going to attempt some drawing here, so bear with me. As the low moves south and east, this snow will start to work its way around. And so we'll see that colder air along with the wind associated with it coming in too. And so, you know, we may get into this little bit of a break, right? You can see this break right here. Parts of southeastern North Dakota, even Devil's Lake, you may see a little bit of a break, a little bit of a lull heading into the afternoon in the precip, but then we'll have that wraparound snow come around. So be prepared for that. Don't just assume it's done. And again, we've got lots of alerts that are in effect here today as well. So I'm going to just zip ahead here, show you the radar again, and bring up our latest alerts. So winter storm warning, winter weather advisory in effect for us here for today. And in addition to that, we've got that high wind warning as well that you'll want to be prepared for as the wind picks up heading into tonight. So again, we're going to continue to keep you updated right here on Valley News Live. We're watching out for the potential for conditions that are going to be on that, well, intense side for travel throughout the day today with the wind and the snow and the icy road conditions. And you could always check the Valley News Live weather app for the latest on road maps, on the radar, of course. And one thing on the app that you can do is look back at the radar, play the past radar to see where it's been and where it's headed. And then you could also look at future radar, which is our forecast model that we use there. And coming up, maybe in about a week or two, we'll do a little tutorial on how to do that if you're struggling with that a little bit coming up here. But overall, looking at a day that's going to be very wintry, not a good day for travel. A lot of places travel is not advised. A reminder, you can check on those road conditions on our website as well, valleynewslive.com, and head to the weather section. That's where you can see sky cams and see the latest on how our roads are, and of course radar and all of the weather information that you could need there. So again, safe travels. Stay put if you can here for today on this winter storm day, and be ready for the cold to come. That'll be coming later this week. We'll be back with an update this afternoon, and I'll be back on the Valley today tracking the rest of this storm coming up tomorrow morning, and we'll talk about the next round coming our way for the end of the week and the cold that's coming our way too. So again, have a safe Tuesday and stay warm, everybody. This has been your weather update brought to you by 1-800-WATER-DAMAGE.
There's no such thing as a small disaster. So when you call 1-800-WATER-DAMAGE of North Dakota, we come prepared to restore your life back to normal. From burst pipes to unexpected mold discoveries or fire damage, when things couldn't be worse, we come to you with our best. With empathy, local expertise, and a truck full of seriously powerful equipment. 1-800-WATER-DAMAGE of North Dakota. Restoring what matters most. 701-670-2022.